extreme. Have you ever made a promise to your kid that you knew immediately that you were not going to fulfill?
Oh God, yes.
I just did that to my son.
You go
Um,
first, and I'll
um
go next.
Immediately. So maybe we should save that. We'll save it.
Okay.
So it'll be on the actual pod. But yeah, I just made a promise to my son that I have zero intention of keeping.
Is it one of those ones that as immediately as it exited your mouth, you wanted somehow to reel that sucker right back
Oh
in?
no, I knew what I was doing. I knew I was promising something that I had no intention later of keeping. I did not. No,
Okay.
I I knowingly went for the lie just to make my kid be quiet and go to sleep. Like
Oh, it's a lie.
oh, I mean, like I said, I told him, I promised him that we're gonna do something, and I'm absolutely not going to follow through on it.
Wah, wah.
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. What I told him. So he every night he will ask me if he can sleep in my bed with me, and I don't I don't mind every now and then, but I don't need my kids sleeping in my bed every night. I like to have my personal space. It's one of the reasons why I kind of like being single, because I get my own goddamn bed again. Well, he will cry if I say no. Well, because I didn't want him to cry and have to go back and forth, I was like, "Yeah, man, I promise. Tomorrow, you're sleeping in my bed." He is absolutely not sleeping in my bed tomorrow night. That's not happening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not happening. Go ahead and tell
Does he
me.
remember? Does he remember stuff like that?
He won't remember the promise, but he's gonna, no matter what, he was gonna ask me tomorrow if I could sleep in my bed. Tell me yours while I turn my fan on, because it's hot as balls in this room.
Oh my God. So ours is. I mean, mine's not as egregious. It's more or less like
Egregious.
we promised him a
What's up,
Capri
Josh?
Sun,
Mm-hmm.
and for the most part, my kid is super hypersensitive to sugar. We're not the type of parents to be like, oh, you're never allowed sugar because that's bad. No, we're not that type. But he can have fruit, and literally he's bouncing off the walls, and we notice a huge spike in his energy output.
Oh, sure.
Um, so we kind of tread lightly on giving him like fruity drinks or anything of that sort
Right.
because it literally goes off the charts. The needle can't go high enough. And
Yeah.
just depending on what time of the day it is, what we're doing. Yeah, we've offered him a Capri Sun over the weekend, and let's just say we prayed to the gods. We sacrificed a couple of goats and a couple of chickens to make sure that he forgot about it.
Oh, yeah.
He remembered it on Tuesday morning, and so we had to forward the lie into next weekend. Which, to be honest, if he does well enough throughout the week, like he now has like a chore chart where
Sure.
if
Yeah.
he does certain things and like uses the potty correctly, et cetera, et cetera, picks up his toys and stuff like that. He gets his reward at the end of the weekend, and that reward is a Capri Sun. So if he gets all that, yeah, he can have it.
Nice.
Totally.
Nice. Okay. So you intend to eventually follow up.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
I have no intention of following up tomorrow. Now, eventually there'll be a night where he's like, "Hey, can I sleep in your bed?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead." But it won't
Yeah.
be because of the promise tonight. That was all just to get him to stop. All right,
Oh boy.
let's get the podcast officially rolling
All
here.
right, my
I'm
friend.
gonna start the music here in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3. Hey everyone, it is Tuesday, November 17th, 2020, and you are listening to the MC Gamescast. I am one of your hosts, Mitchell Barrett, twitch.tv/Team Llama Squad, and I am joined by the other host of the MC Gamescast, twitch.tv/Charzar81. Charlie, what's up, dude?
Everything is up, man. It's great to be back. It's good to be Tuesday. That means once it's Tuesday night, that means tomorrow's Wednesday, and then tomorrow's Thursday, and then we
And
have our
then
days off.
vacation, baby. It's time for vacation.
Hell
And
yes,
ladies and
I'm excited.
gentlemen, Lead Asian, thank you so much for the subscription 5 months in a row. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you very much. Charlie, it's now a week since the next gen consoles have been released.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. And for one of us, womp womp. You're still on your mad search. Thanks
Yeah,
for the biddy, Josh. And yeah, so Charlie? We will talk about what happened Saturday here in just a moment. But
sure.
Charlie, why don't you talk about the rest of your weekend, and then we'll get into what happened on Saturday.
The weekend was long. So I was off last Friday. I'm having to take several days off to burn some well-earned PTO along the way. And boy, I dived into a little video gaming that I'm going to be reviewing later on in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say it's 9.9, and there's that point 1 that honestly it adds to it rather than
Right.
subtracts from the
Sure.
gameplay.
Yeah.
So
Some of the
I had fun
things.
with that. I hate Microsoft properties right now a lot, except for say Gears 5, because oh my god, it took me way too long to download Gears 5 for your extra live stream that I
Mm-hmm.
jumped into over the weekend.
Right.
Um, I get it. I understand it. They want to say playing Xbox is not centrally encased in playing on an Xbox console. You know, you could play PC that's also playing on the Xbox. They want you to play Xbox games.
Mm.
It's a little frustrating, but I got a lot of work done. I got a lot of reading done during that time as I
Sure.
literally went prehistoric, turning off everything in my house so I could maximize download speed to get in the stream with you. That's how badly I wanted to co-op with you over the weekend in that game. On top of that, watched a little Masters.
Mm-hmm.
Made a little money on the side. It was so nice. It's
Cool.
gambling's fun when you win.
Well, Charlie, as you know, I did a
I
little
love Dustin
gambling.
Johnson now.
Right. I'll tell you this. I did a little gambling the previous weekend on some NFL
Oh yeah.
action. I found out that I had like $16 in a Bovada account that I didn't know I had. So I decided to do the smart thing, which by that I mean the opposite of smart. There are thing to people that don't know gambling. There are things called parlays where you pack multiple bets into one bet, and if you win all of the bets, you win way more money than you would if you did them all individually. It's not a smart bet because all it takes is one to miss, and you lose it all. So I did a 14 parlay over Sunday on the NFL, and I went 0 for 4. I lost all of them. So basically, the moral of that story is don't bet.
I told a buddy at work about this, and
Mm-hmm.
we were actually trying to make a case that if you got them all wrong, you should at least get like half your money back for the fact that you went over.
It's kind of impressive, right?
Because it's equally as hard to do that as to pick them all correct.
Well, and the
If
thing
you think
is
about it.
is that I didn't even come close on 3 of the 4. One of them one of
Yeah.
them was the Cowboys. I picked the Steelers 14 and a half, and it was what did the Cowboys lose by 3? It was like, I mean, it was like 3 or 4 points. Like, it wasn't.
Well, didn't we say as soon as you put money on that,
You
this will be
did.
the weekend that
Of
the
course.
Cowboys go off?
Never bet against the Cowboys, because when you do, then something
Ah.
good is going to happen. Yes, Garrett Gilbert, who put up a great performance, and now his reward is to go back on the bench. But that's it for football, because I can't do football. So did you? What else did you do? Did you do anything on Sunday? I know that you had to sleep off a little bit because of the end of Saturday night.
Oh my gosh, I want to play Among Us now. Like
Uh,
that was my weekend for the most part. I
right.
slept in as much as I could because during Among Us had a little of Knobs Creek.
Little.
Great, great whiskey. Um, but yeah, I mean, I get like I said, I watched a lot of the Masters, which for the first time, and I don't think ever it was being held in November due to
Mm-hmm.
COVID.
Yeah.
It's usually held in April, after March Madness,
Mm-hmm.
and the course was completely different. It was cool to see. It was, I mean, Tiger shot a 10 on the 12th hole. It was
Didn't
cool
it
to see him be human.
didn't it make you feel good about how bad we are at golf for a
Oh
moment?
my
It's
gosh,
like he
like
can do it too.
yeah,
We're just like Tiger. We're
yeah.
exactly
It,
like
it
him.
made me really like think about guys like I know it's COVID and I know we shouldn't be like, we should be practicing mask wearing and social distancing and
Mhm.
everything like that. But if there is a sport that we can all participate and do together and have fun being bad at,
Mhm.
we gotta hit up
I'm
something
telling you,
soon. Yeah.
springtime. We're doing it. Our pal Ryan and I, we've talked about it. It's gonna happen. Once spring, we're gonna get back into it in a big way. I'll have to buy new golf clubs because I sold mine because we stopped playing, but that's okay.
Uh,
Anything else from the weekend, Charlie?
that's it, man.
Yeah, that's
What have you been doing? What
so
did you do this weekend?
Saturday. We'll talk about here in just a moment. Sunday. So I wanted to watch the final round of the Masters.
Hmm.
And here was my problem. So my kids let me sleep in, which was very nice of them. They didn't have a
That's not a
choice.
problem.
They didn't, I mean, I didn't give them a choice, but I did. My kids are at that age, especially my 8-year-old, that they can kind of do things without bothering me too much. So I slept in a little bit, and then I had to, because of Saturday, I had to kind of do some of the weekend stuff on Sunday. And by the time I remembered, oh shit, it's the Masters, it was already over because they did it early because they had the Sunday afternoon national game. And so it was done by what, 2 o'clock, 2:30?
Yeah.
And so I completely missed it, and that's a bummer because I love the Masters. It's my favorite golf tournament. I'm glad I have not been able to uh, uh, get up the courage to watch Tigers 10 because it's so uncomfortable watching
Oh,
good golfers do that. So, yeah, of course, there's many videos of just supercuts of the 10, and I haven't been able to bring myself to do it because I love
it's
Tiger.
uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable watching any of us do it
Oh
live.
yeah, I mean you've seen me throw
Nevertheless,
clubs,
watching someone that you've idolized as like, the top of his sport,
right?
you know, yeah, yeah.
No,
I've watched it once and
it's
it's
enough.
hard.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's not just Tiger. I mean, Jordan Spieth did it a couple years ago. He put up like a 9 on the same hole, and
Sure.
it's really hard to watch someone who is a top 10, 15, 20 player in the world, or in the case of Tiger, the greatest of all time, or arguably the greatest of all time, and just completely fail like that. Just nothing goes right. And it sucks.
Hmm.
Other than that, didn't
He's
really
mortal.
do. Yeah, he is. He's mortal, and
He's getting older.
all it took was him to get to 44 years old. And so yeah, that was really it. I didn't do too much after that. Closes over, so everything kind of opened itself back up. Looking forward to vacation. But let's talk about video games, Charlie. Before we get into my stuff, because my stuff is
Yep.
a little more dominant this week, which is weird because normally it's not like that. And you and I had a lot of crossover. Did you play anything else besides the big review of the week and what we played on the stream?
No, not really. I
Okay.
everything that I did, I pretty much saved myself for, playing on the stream with you, and obviously the other game that's pretty much sucked all the time out of my life right now. So,
Yeah. Well, so on Saturday, we talked about this last week, promoting it, and so in Saturday came the big day. It was my 12-hour marathon stream supporting Extra Life,
yeah.
and I teamed up with Team Giant Bomb, Charlie. That's mine and yours favorite video game website, and we kind of model some of the stuff we do after them. And so I teamed up with them. It's something I've always wanted to do and finally got to do it. So I did 12 hours, and man, it was such a blast. First of all, the just doing the 12 hours was much easier and much better than the first time I did a 12-hour back, in my the early days of me streaming. One, I got a better night of sleep beforehand, and I did a better job of taking breaks this time and taking extended breaks. The first time I did it, I was like, I'm going to take a break, which meant I'm going to go potty and then come back. Like this time I took sizable breaks. I mean, I took a 30-minute lunch, and then before Among Us, I took a nice hearty break. And
Hardy.
not only that, I played some stuff that I've got the new Xbox, so I got to play in EA Play and Game Pass. There's a lot of new stuff, so I got to play a lot of new stuff, which some of that stuff we played together. And we raised, as of today, we've raised $265. Now I did come a little short of my goal of $500, which I'm sad, but also I raised $265, and that's super cool. You donated. Thank you so much for doing that. And we had a lot of people that we know. We had a couple of randoms. In fact, Matthew Rory of Giant Bomb actually came and hung out in the stream for a while and actually donated to my campaign, which was super cool. And then he joined our Discord, which was wild. But
He
it
sees
was
everything on our Discord now.
the Giant Bomb website hosted my stream for a while, which was super cool. Like what Giant Bomb does every year for their Extra Life stuff is incredible. They met their goal of $200,000. We'll have more on that later. And so it was really cool. All of you guys are super generous. All the bits, all the subs, all the direct donations. It was super cool. So thank you to everybody. The campaign is still open. I dropped it in the current chat. You could still donate. I'm going to keep it up for the rest of the year because we have until December 31st. So we still have a good chance of getting to that $500. So thanks to everybody that donated, even and just even the minimum amount of stuff, the little bits here and there. That is super cool of you guys. But as far as the stuff that I played and we played, for starters, of course, I played Rocket League. I was able to win a tournament without you watching, Charlie, because you're not allowed to watch my Rocket League streams anymore. Because when you watch,
Again.
I lose every single time. You stop watching, I win. Charlie didn't watch, and I won a freaking tournament. So that was cool. And then after I got done, while I was waiting for you guys to be ready to play the game we'll talk about in a little bit, I logged on to PUBG, mostly just because I wanted to see how that ran on the new Xbox, because it runs like fucking garbage on an Xbox One, and immediately won a game in that one. So it was a day of winners. So the new stuff that I played, games that I haven't played before, because of EA Play coming to Game Pass, I downloaded and played and have played since Extra Life, Battlefield 5, the latest in the Battlefield series. This one is the World War II Battlefield, and I am all back in Battlefield. It is so much fun. Nico, who's in the chat, and Ryan, who is not in the chat, we've been playing that, and it's been such a good time. It's amazing looking. It is stunning. It's one of the best looking games of the last generation. It's so incredible how good that game looks. It's a lot of fun. Conquest mode is fun. I did play a little bit of the Battle Royale Firestorm in it. That is a dead mode. Nobody's really playing it. I got into a game where it's a 64-player mode. There were 13 people in it. It is dead. They are not supporting anymore, which is a bummer. I mean, it's a very straightforward Battle Royale, so it's not that good. So yeah, that was cool. But then
Very cool.
you, Ryan, our good friend Smithy Fingers, and Nico, probably the second best highlight of the day, we all played Gears 5, the Horde mode. And Charlie, you are a huge fan of the Gears series. You played
Hmm.
all three of the 360 versions. Did you play Judgment?
No.
Okay, so but you played the three main lines on the 360, so you have a big deep history with that series. You love that series.
Oh yeah.
I really like that series, but I didn't get into it as deep as you did, and I really didn't play a lot of Horde mode. Dude, this is fucking badass. It is so much fun. It plays great. It runs great. It looks amazing on the Xbox Series X, and I know it looks really good on PC as well. It's just a lot of fun. And we did some 5-player horde mode, which with the people that we had playing, we were laughing so hard. It was that perfect scenario of really fun game and the right people.
Oh yeah.
And you know, a lot of it was our good friend Smithy and Nico, and Nico doing his voice, which
And
God.
I heard none of
And
it.
Charlie heard none of it because he had issues with the Xbox Live party,
See.
which hopefully we get that figured out for the next time. But yeah, man, that game is so good. It plays so wonderfully. Horde mode is hard. We were playing on beginner, and it's hard, but it's a lot of fun. What were your impressions of it, Charlie?
So yeah, like as you were saying, Gears is one of my favorite series of all time. It is actually the series that brought me into Xbox. I wasn't ever really a Halo player.
Mm-hmm.
When I did jump over to the Xbox 360, that was actually one of the first games that I played prior to actually owning it. And it was a lot of fun. It's amazing to see how far that game has come graphically,
Oh my
but at the
gosh.
same time, you can see all the roots still
Oh
there.
sure, it's still
Like
Gears.
it's still fast paced. It's still very visceral. It's still very metal.
Oh yeah.
Not as fast as Doom, obviously,
Well,
because
sure.
Doom is just like on a whole different
Nothing
level.
is.
But again, those are two different types of games. You're playing from a third person, like over the shoulder perspective. It's all about um, uh, what's that called? I can't think of the word. Hiding behind cover and jumping over
like
cover and
like cover
then jump
shooter.
yeah, cover shooter, jumping into the fray, you know, getting into melee combat, like there's very sparse um ammo in this particular horde mode, which
Correct.
like we were finding challenges therein of, as well as brand new enemies that we were trying to first wrap our brains around what the fuck they were in the
Right.
first place,
Exactly.
and
Well,
second, how to bring them down as fast as possible.
well,
Um,
as someone that has really only played the first one and a little bit of the second one, most of that shit was new to me.
yeah,
So it was just like, what the
the
fuck is that thing?
yeah, even the grunts that the normal like kind of minions that kind of come in, and you can kind of tell that they're bullet sponges. You can tell that the AI is working a little bit more in depthly in comparison to previous versions of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So the AI is a little smarter there.
Sure.
Um, the one thing I did, if I have any criticism for it, and again, we played what, 2 hours?
Yeah, and we will play more.
And yeah, in the little amount of time that we played in, again, it is a positive and a negative. I did prefer the horde mode, the 50 turn horde mode,
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
in from three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there are advantages to the fact that is this 12, it was 12 turns, right? If I'm
Mm-hmm.
remembering correctly,
It was 12.
that you got through this, quick paced, turn after turn after turn. All of a sudden it's over, and then you just start again. There are moments when you do the 50 turn marathon where if you're out of luck, say turn 44, and you have to start completely over because your defenses are completely just have been assailed by the enemy, and they're waves and waves of people.
Mm-hmm.
it's like dying in a game, and all of a sudden you're starting with like the default pistol instead of all the weaponry that you've incurred over that 44 turn span.
Right.
So there are advantages to the fact that it's very quick pace. Like if you want to play quick horde mode, you don't have to like say, hey, do you guys have 2 hours to like to dive in through 50 turns. You don't really have to do that here. You could just say, hey, let's do 12 turns. Let's get in, get out. We played like what, three
I
different
Yeah, I think we
um
played 3 times. Yeah,
yeah, we played 3 times. I say turn, it's more like wave. But
waves.
yeah, like 12 waves is a good enough number where it's not too shallow, but at the same time
Right.
it's not a
I
marathon.
will say
So
this while you were talking, I looked it up because I was curious. They do have a 50 turn mode.
oh,
Apparently, you have to
okay.
go in the options and change it. But I'll say this for the amount of time that people like me and you and especially a lot of our friends have to play games, that 12 number is a pretty good number because we can get in a 2 hour span, which is usually about how long we have to play games together. You could get in three really good meaty runs of 12 waves. But it looks like that the 50 turn is still there.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I want to do that again, and we will do that again, Charlie. We've talked about with our time off coming up, doing some collaborative streams, and I would imagine that Gears 5 is going to be a part of that for sure. Um, the other thing we played together, which I
What
believe
about
is
that other game?
the other game, which to me, and I believe to everybody that joined us, was the highlight of the day. We finally, not for the first time, but for the first time for a long extended period of time, and all together for the first time, we played Among Us. Um, what a blast, man! First of all, you have to play that game with people you know. Charlie, I know you've played it with randos, just on your phone
Yeah.
without audio chat, um, and it's not the same at all. I've
No.
done it a couple times, and I was like, I get it, and I kind of did it more to just understand what the game was. But when you have
Mhm.
people you're all chatting over audio chat, us through Discord. What a bonkers, stupid, unbelievably cool game that is.
Yep.
To the three people that don't know what Among Us is, it is a man, I don't even know how to explain this. So basically, what it is that you can have up to 10 people, and one or two or three of those are chosen as the imposter. Nobody knows who the imposter is. Nobody and basically it's just kind of survive and find out who the imposter is. And as the regular crewmates, you're going around and doing these tasks. So the object of the game is to either find who the imposter or imposters are, or finish all the tasks. And if you finish all the tasks, that's a win state. The having it with audio is incredible. I will say this: we all did such a great job of when we got killed not saying anything. We all did a fantastic job of not doing anything that would disrupt the integrity of the game. We all did incredible. And man, some of the
Yes.
moments, I would say this, definitely if you're watching this tonight or if you're watching on VOD, you got to go to my VODs and watch the last 2 hours because it's hard to tell everybody how ridiculous and how funny some of the moments were. The moment where Charlie kills, he was the imposter, he kills someone and thinks, oh, I'm going to be smart and I'm going to self-report. And he hits the emergency meeting button.
Oh
I
man.
immediately was like, wait a minute, that's not how you do that. And eventually we caught it, and our friend Josh was once the imposter and killed someone in front of our friend Lead Asian, and Lead Asian immediately goes into the thing and he's like, Josh did it, he was in the hallway, I saw him. It was so wonderful. It's so much fun. Charlie, we need to get I feel like I'm doing a terrible job explaining it, but I feel like this game is very hard to explain. Um
So
Go ahead.
If anyone out there has played like a game like FTL or any of these single player map modes in like from like StarCraft, you've got kind of this overhead map layout of a ship. And the premise is that the ship is trying to return back to, it's return to a destination or make a destination. And amongst the crew, there is an imposter that is obviously trying to sabotage that return and kill everybody. And so the to make that return back to like say home base or the home planet, you do have to go in like the crew has to go in and perform certain tasks. These tasks can take some time, and they do, there are a whole bunch of mini games within a game, and so all along the while they're kind of walking around, and everyone looks the same. You're these little like blob creatures in like these cute little spacesuits, and there are one or two imposters depend on what the presets are.
Yeah.
And so these imposters, they have an extra ability where they can like kind of like crawl through the vents, they can sabotage areas of the ship, which that it delays the other tasks being performed. You're correct. Like once the tasks are all performed, that is the end game. That is a win. There is also a win state where if the imposter is either caught or if there is a conference being held amongst all the players, and they through process of elimination, they think. I don't know how else to say this. They figure out the imposter. That imposter gets thrown off the ship, and there's an end game as well. The that is kind of the sub part of the game. The debate is the meat of that game.
Yeah.
Especially when you have great imposters who move stealthily around the ship, killing people without encumbrance, and sometimes they'll call a meeting on themselves. Unfortunately, I did it the wrong way.
Right.
But, they'll call a meeting, and all of a sudden, like, people will start to, the suspicion continues to grow upon every death, every meeting that is called. And that is actually what makes this game so much fun, is that people are just trying to point fingers at each other and say, no, I was an electric trying to, fix the electric panel there. Where I was like, no, I was trying to slide the card in administrative or whatever. And all of a sudden, like, you either have an imposter who's trying to talk their way out, or they're just kind of like quietly waiting in the wings, like, this one bitch that killed me twice. And,
Hi, Aaron.
that's what makes it so much fun.
Oh
so.
Man, I was I was the imposter at one time, and I took out our poor friend Sean, Sean got either killed or thrown out first as not the imposter 4 games in a row. It was incredible. So I kill Sean, and I forget, it was either you or Josh. I can't remember who it was. I think it was you, Charlie. Started suspecting my brother.
Yeah,
and
that was me.
And I kind of did that. I kind of did that thing where I was like, I mean, Charlie makes a good point, but I couldn't be too agreeable, because then it sounds like I'm just trying to be like, well, maybe it was him, that kind of thing. Like, you have to find this really good middle ground of whether you're being accused or someone else is being accused when you're the imposter. You have to find this really good middle ground of not going too far with your defense or your accusations. And of course, you had a moment where you went way too far with the accusations, which was in that moment where you called it on yourself. I do this whole thing where I completely and utterly basically prove it's you. And you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know. Like, I found the body, this, and this. And I'm like, no, but you would have done this, and this. And then you kind of go, it was llama. Like, the way you turned it back on me was so absurd. And I can't believe that not everybody else was like, well, of course Charlie did it at that point.
And that's the art of this game
It's
is that when you
amazing.
back a guy into a corner, what is that person going to say that's going to dissuade the others from like, oh, and like, I mean, I'll be frank with myself. It
I'll be
was
Sally.
obvious that I did it,
Yeah.
but the fact that I was able to like just through sheer like panic and through like even just like, oh, he's the one that did it, he's the one pointing the finger, just putting that little seed of doubt in like other people's minds just to survive that vote. Because and that's the thing, other thing too, is that when you are in an emergency meeting, once all the chips are on the table, all the evidence is out there, people get to vote on who to kick off, who to jettison out into outer space.
Right.
And it's gotta, the voting has to be not really unanimous, but it's got to be clear and
Unanimous
distinct
enough.
that, yeah. And so when there's a tie, the imposter, you'll get a little message saying like, there were not enough votes to jettison da 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 da, or the person who was jettisoned was not the imposter. You'll get notification of that.
Hmm.
And so you've got all these people pointing at each other, and the imposter is still on the
Still
ship.
on the ship.
So not
Well,
only have you like, put this shroud of distrust among everyone, because
oh,
it's like you saw as soon as everyone started doing that, but we were still left on the ship. We were all like kind of like following each other, but keeping our distance a
dude,
little bit. We like didn't
Josh
know what to do.
Josh in the chat said it exactly correctly. And while I'm saying Charlie, I need you to lean all the way back
Oh, am I?
and let you get unblurred. Hang on. It's not working this time. Just lean all the way back and I'll tell you when to lean forward.
All right.
Um we got to the end where okay, you're good. You can lean forward. So we got to the end of this where there were four of us left. Nobody knew who it was. It was me, but nobody knew who it was. And you three, it was you, your brother, and my brother. Everybody was so nervous that we were
Yeah.
all just kind of huddling around the emergency meeting button. And we were just like, who's gonna hit the button? And then we were like, who's gonna be the first to walk away? Well, so eventually everybody starts to walk away. And you know what? There was five of us. There was, I think, Chris, lead Asian, was also there, and we were all just hovering. Well, we start to finally spread out a little bit, and everybody stayed together pretty much, and I couldn't do anything. Well, finally, I go into electrical, and I see my brother, and he's by himself, and I'm like, here we go. Well, in the game, if you can't, you have a line of sight. And
Yeah.
if there's a wall, obviously you can't see around the corner, so you can't see if anybody else is around the corner. Well, I didn't know that everybody was fucking there. And I go to my brother and I'm like, slash. And the second I kill him, I move forward just slightly into the field of view, and everybody is standing there and witness it. And all I could do was go, ah, shit. And that was the end of it. It is so much fun. Out of all the community stuff we've done marbles, we've done Jackbox, and those are a lot of fun. Like, I really like doing marbles. It's a fun, chill thing, and Jackbox is always fun. This is just so amazingly fun, and I think of the three that we've done, this is going to be the one that we're never going to get bored of. I think we're going to
Yeah.
be, I think we're going to, anytime one of us is like, hey, we should do Among Us on a Friday night, we're going to be like, hell yeah, let's do it. And in
Yeah.
fact, this Friday night, Team Llama Squad channel, we will be all getting together and playing some Among Us. So join us for that. It's going to be a blast. What's up?
Did you see this week that it was their 2-year anniversary?
Dude, we kind of talked about this last week where that game came out 2 years ago. And for the first year and a half, nobody played it. I take that back. You know where they played it? South Korea, where
Yeah.
all weird games go. South Korea. But in America, it never caught on, and they got to the point to where they were basically going to shut it down. And then they thought, well, maybe we'll just make Among Us 2 and start over and try again. Then all of a sudden, with the pandemic, everybody started playing it on Twitch. It was never meant to be a Twitch game.
Mhm.
But all of a sudden, it explodes, and they decided that, okay, we're not going to make Among Us 2. We're just going to continue to support this game and make all of the money because they make money on the phones through all the advertisements, and they make the $5 off of Steam, which that game was made 2 years ago. So pretty much that $5 that everybody spends when they buy the PC version is all pure profit at this point, aside from server costs. But most of that is pure profit. So they've become like this weird, like you always hear about overnight success. This is a long 2 years of overnights success. It's an incredible game. It's so much fun. And we're gonna play it. We're definitely gonna play it this Friday, and we're gonna try to do this a lot more often. Not just on my channel, Charlie. I know you wanted to do some of that on your channel, and we've got friends we're gonna do it on. We're gonna play this a lot more.
We'll do it on everybody's channel.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna have their opportunity because it's super fun. But yeah, so that was extra. Go ahead.
Just to say, in case you don't have this thing, it's free on the phone. It's free.
It's free on your phone, and the ads are not intrusive. But the ads are not intrusive at all.
Correct. And if you choose to buy it like off Steam, it's $5.
It's $5. I spent the $5 because I needed it for the streaming purposes, but I'm glad I bought that because it's a lot easier version to play because of the keyboard and mouse. I already got my $5 worth just in one night, and we're going to be playing this into perpetuity.
If you had told us like it was a $10 game, I still think that we'd be making off like bandits.
Right. Yeah, I think
because
so.
I can't wait to see what the other maps have.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that we only played the original map. There's still 2 more. Like there's a lot for us to still mess around with, and even if it was just that one map, I think we would have so much fun doing it because every game is going to be different, and there's going to be different strategies to use. There's going to be different people using different ways of being the imposter, or in the case if we have enough people, multiple imposters. I can't wait to play it when there's multiple imposters. That's going to be cool. But Charlie, do you have anything else from Extra Life?
No, man. I'm happy to see, I'm congratulating you as a partner that, I think this is your first venture in regards to like, churning up a charity, and the fact that you regardless of like, you set a $500 goal, had you attained it or not, you raised money for a great cause.
Right.
The fact that, and it's still open. So
we can
honest,
I think we can still get there. And for me personally, it was for Cook Children's Hospital in Fort Worth, which is a personal thing for me as well. Without getting into it too much, my son has had to go to that hospital before. They are about the most wonderful place you could ever imagine. The facility is incredible. The doctors, the nurses, everybody there is incredible. So I'm proud that I'm proud. Nick, Nick, what are you doing?
How? Drop your weapons.
Okay. All right. I'm proud. I am proud to have been able to not only do it for them. I'm proud to have been able to do it with Giant Bomb. And I think now that I've done it, and Charlie, you've been kind of you were part of it in a small way as well. I think next year we'll be able to do it in a bigger way where you're doing your own streams as well. And we can kind of do it as a bigger team, Josh, as well, and maybe some of our other friends, that some of our streamer friends, maybe we can kind of put together our own little team, things like that. So it was a lot of fun. So, but thank you everybody for that. Thank you for the support. Thanks to everybody that donated. My mother donated, which would have been hilarious if she had won the shirt. And speaking of that, real quick before we get into the news, Charlie, this is very exciting. In my merch shop, I've got merch of my logo stuff, who cares about that right now. We also have, Charlie, the debut of our MC Gamescast logo and merch with that here on the overlay. I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it. I'm going to cover us up so you can see it. The girl that has been working on my emotes and logos, her name is Diana. She also created our Gamescast logo. And Charlie, I know you agree. We could not be happier with the way it turned out. It is exactly how we envisioned it. It looks fantastic, and if you guys want, you can get a shirt. Eventually, we're gonna put I got to put a hoodie on there as well. We're gonna have all kinds of merch, and you guys can order an MC Gamescast shirt and support your boys here. And like I said, Charlie and I love the logo. It's fantastic, and I hope you guys like it too. We're super happy with the result. Um, and Nick just put the merch link into the chat, so y'all go check that out, and you support us as well. Because we do get a little bit of that, as well. So check that out, and thank you guys for all of your support. Charlie, let's go ahead and move on. We're going to move on to our next segment, which is the news. All right, and we've got a little bit of news this week. Not a lot. I mean, with the new consoles out, we knew that news was going to be a little bit sparse. But we did have some good stuff. We actually have a couple of cool things in here that are gonna bring up some really good conversations. So I thought we would go ahead and get some of the news out of the way that doesn't have a lot of conversation. I'll start real quick. The developer of the 13 remake, 13, which came out, I believe, in like 2002 on the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox. It was that cell shaded first person shooter that was based on the graphic novel that was not that great to begin with. Well, a developer decided to remake that. I don't know why. Well, that remake is somehow worse than the original. It is broken. They changed the graphical style away from that kind of cel-shaded kind of graphic novel look, and it is broken to the point to where the developer had to come out and apologize and talk about, they did the whole we realized that there are we did not make this game to the quality of what we feel it's supposed to be, that kind of bullshit.
Who's this?
I'm the developer of 13 the remake. It's just the reason why I put that in there, one, is because for some reason 13 got brought up in the last couple weeks by myself and a couple of other people in chat, including Josh. Why did they make a remake of this game? It sold poorly. It wasn't that good to begin with. Why are they remaking this game? I don't get it. That's all I have to say about that. And mostly,
was it a hidden gem? Maybe, God, what was that game that it was at E3 about a couple of years ago. I don't want to say the name because I don't want to stir up another hornet's nest, but was it Shenmue that they were going to re-release?
They did a Kickstarter for Shenmue, for Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
And they put it out and everybody was like, I think it was less about them making Shenmue 3 and it was more, you're going to do a Kickstarter of that? That's weird. Sure. And also, why would they do a Kickstarter for a sequel to a really bad series? I don't understand that either. But but in terms of, it's kind of they recently did that Destroy All Humans remake, and it was like Destroy All Humans was fine. Why are we remaking it? And then of course it came and went. Whatever. It's weird that they did that. Charlie, let's talk about the next item. Go ahead.
So the next item, obviously, if you are on Twitch and you are a streamer, you know the letters DMCA. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which pretty much allows for websites like Twitch to host user-generated content under a provision colloquially known as Safe Harbor. Well, they've recently been getting a lot of claims and copyright notices, takedown notices, speaking specifically to the RIAA, the Recording Industry Association of America, you know, and Twitch, kind of like they did, was it earlier this year? I believe it was earlier this year that they went into some a good amount of partner sites and started deleting content. And there's been a lot of heated debate in regards to, you know, streaming with copyright content in the background and whether or not like the DMCA covers, like our area, covers our asses there and stuff like that. I actually wanted to ask your opinion on this because I know that you play Rocksmith a lot, and you were starting this new venture through marbles,
Mm-hmm.
like with your own methodology of like, hey, you win this, you get to pick the next song, and
Yeah.
we're having a good time here. It's all innocent and stuff like that. But I actually wanted to hear what your thoughts were on it in regards to like, where this could possibly go moving on. Because I know that they were saying basically like, say, hey, like when you go in, like you may have to mute your content in case that there are any, questionable, copyrighted portions of the game. I'm thinking of even games, that like, GTA 5 that obviously have copyrighted music behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, obviously, Rocksmith, you're playing the music, and that's essentially the game.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people are kind of distraught and like, there's a lot of gray area. And there's also a lot of people saying, well, you can do this, but not that. And they really, really, really haven't gone in and read the fine print because,
Right.
when it comes down to it, if you read the fine print, it will state in black and white that this is, this particular item is copyright. But, again, there is an addendum like however and
Yeah.
ifs and all that stuff. So I wanted to actually get your piece
So
on this.
that's the part that's really annoying about this whole thing. Like, I completely understand the idea of, okay, obviously these record companies are trying to protect their stuff. They don't want people to make money off of their music without them getting theirs. Like, I understand that portion. The part that myself and everyone on Twitch that's involved is having an issue with is that Twitch, well, we have another, with the next story also is another just another thing that they've done where people are just like, what are you even doing? Nobody knows what this DMCA stuff means. Like, nobody knows how they're supposed to um how to run their streams when it comes to music. You talked about stuff like Rocksmith and Grand Theft Auto and games that use licensed music. Like, there have been some people on Twitch that have been like, well, you could just mute the game, and the others that are like, well, you don't have to mute the game, you just delete your VODs, and like all these
Yeah.
other different reasons. And nobody at us as streamers, we have no idea what we're supposed to do. We have no idea. Like, for example, Rocksmith. Am I going to get taken down because I play Rocksmith?
Correct.
Am I going to get taken down because I streamed it and my VOD is still up? Because this has always been a thing. When I stream Rocksmith or I stream anything where I use licensed music, and Josh, this may be the case with Vice City as well, your VOD, they will mute parts of your VOD where
Yeah.
and it's not all of it. Like, I'll do a Rocksmith stream and say it's an hour and a half, and like 40 minutes of it'll be muted, and it's kind of all over the place. I think it's just specific songs that they're doing that.
Yeah.
And they're probably using the same computer logic as YouTube does when it finds when it finds copyright infringement in your
Like
YouTube
Shazam or
videos.
something.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I mean, essentially, yes, exactly. But I don't think anybody in general, I should say nobody should have an issue with Twitch saying, "Hey, we're trying to protect these record companies because They come to us when
Yeah.
there's huge amounts of licensing issues. I get that. But because the information that they've been giving, or really lack of information, nobody knows how to act anymore when it comes to licensed music. If they just tell us what they mean in concrete words, I think everybody would just kind of be like, okay, this is just how it is. We have to be careful. But they're not doing that, and they haven't done that. In fact, they did their GlitchCom, big yearly thing on Twitch over the weekend, and they had an opportunity to talk about it, and they kind of didn't. They were supposed to have this kind of town hall thing where there was going to be questions, and they canceled it because they knew that only people were going to talk about this DMCA thing. And it's like, okay, so you're not going to give us this information, and then you're going to take the cowardly approach of, oh, we're just not going to do the thing where you ask us the questions that need to be answered, and they're not doing it. And it's really, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I streamed Rocksmith the other day, and I didn't feel good about it the entire time. Like, I'm like, should I be doing this? I don't know if I should. Should I delete the VOD? Should I not? I ultimately kept the VOD, which I still don't feel great about. So I don't know. And Twitch has had a bad year in terms of messaging. You have that. You have all the sexual assault allegations rampant throughout Twitch that really didn't get addressed. You had the thing that happened to Dr. Disrespect. Say what you want about Dr. Disrespect, whether you like him or not. Nobody knows why he got banned from Twitch. He claims, and at this point I kind of believe him because no news has come out about it. It's the internet. We should know what happened to Dr. Disrespect. We don't know. So, and then this story, which we'll go ahead and just segue right into it. Twitch over the weekend announced that you can buy your way into the affiliate program.
That's so stupid.
And I pulled up the article here because I think it's worth kind of actually going into it a little bit. So there's a company called Monster Cat, which is a music label.
Yeah.
And basically what what Twitch announced is that there's a deal with the music label Monster Cat that will allow streamers to subscribe to Monster Cat Gold, whatever that is, for $5 a month.
Sure.
And you gain access to the library of music. So it kind of gets into the DMCA thing a little bit.
Yeah.
But also you automatically gain Twitch affiliate status. And look, let's talk about Twitch affiliate. In the grand scheme of things, Twitch affiliate is not that difficult to attain. It's an average of 3 viewers, 50 followers, and 500 hours in the span of 30 days. But we still had to grind for it. We all did it. I did it. You did it, Charlie. Josh, you went through it. It's not a difficult number to hit, but it's a difficult grind you go through. All of the promotion that you do for yourself, all the networking that you do, all of the things that you do to get to that moment. And then you get to that moment, and Charlie, I know it was the same for you, it was the same for me, and I know it was the same for Josh. When you got that email, it's a really cool moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool moment. And, all of a sudden, you can just pay $5 a month and become one. You don't even have to work for it. And
yeah.
I think that's weird. I don't like that. I think basically what Twitch is saying is, Charlie, what you did to get your affiliate doesn't really matter. Yeah. Josh, what you did to get your affiliate, the week that you guys worked hard to get there and streamed and really worked at it and networked and everything. And I did the same thing. I had to do it twice. I had to do it through Mixer and then through Twitch.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore. And it's just, It kind of slaps you in the face. And I think that's just a bad look. And, YouTube, Facebook, all these different sites that do streaming, I just wonder with the way that they're handling the DMCA, the way that they handle the sexual assault stuff, and the way that they're handling this affiliate stuff now, Like, I don't know what they're doing. I wonder if it's one of those things where, oh, they're the biggest streaming platform in the world. If they're not just getting,
Mm.
kind of content and they're just like, we could do whatever we want and people will stay, which in some ways is true. But with the rise of YouTube streaming and now Facebook, say what you want about those platforms. Those are big platforms. Facebook's a
Yeah.
massive platform, and of course YouTube is a massive platform, and they're putting a lot of money into the streaming side. They got Dr. Disrespect. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I think it's really weird what Twitch is doing these days.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. Look, it's been a weird year. I mean, it's been bananas. It's forced companies who are seeing retarded numbers on their financials to approach business in a way that probably is adverse to their original credo. Twitch was supposed to be for like the independent, small streamer. Like you said, that was what affiliate status was for. Affiliate status to me, I got like, so those really, really, really tall staircases that lead up to those monk palaces, like in China and stuff like that. Kind of like from Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I equate affiliate status to like the first like set of stairs. And then
Sure.
you have the other 90%, 95% to even breathe on partner.
Right. And
But the fact that
yeah.
the first set of stairs, let me just say this really
No,
quick.
go ahead.
The first set of stairs, it's like you said, it is a grind. It eliminates the people who are just like going to be fly by night.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I want to try to check out this streaming thing. And if they don't have the heart, if they're just in this for the money, they're immediately rooted out
Oh, for
because you
sure.
can kind of spot them from like afar.
Well, yeah.
Yes, that can be one of the reasons you do this, but it's got to be a lot, lower on, well, if you want to talk about totem poles, the most important one is actually the bottom, but it's got to be a lot lower in the pecking order, as opposed to like you wanting to entertain, you wanting to bring new content out there, you wanting to inform, you wanting to be creative. Then if you want to make money on top of that, that's when the affiliate status kind of kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what, to me, and this is to me, it was all about networking. It's all about, making friends. I'd never had a friend in Canada before, like I started doing this thing, much
Right.
less England, much less South Africa,
Oh,
much
no.
less,
South
like
America.
I only had cousins in the Philippines. I talk to Filipinos like pretty much on an everyday basis
Right.
now. It's ridiculous. And so it's an interweb of connections through emotion and through passion and through similar interests. To basically just take that and just slap a $5 tag on that
Right.
is a really big slap in the face to a lot of people.
Well,
I get what they're trying to do in regards to like, we need to make money because I understand all businesses are like suffering right now. But to just open up the floodgates,
mm-hmm.
and like I tweeted about this earlier, there's going to be an influx of trash coming in, and
So
unfortunately
much.
the true streamers who like, I don't want to say I'm struggling, I'm fine where I'm at, but I know that like my minimal growth at what it is right now, it's even going to flatline even more because the
The
floodgates are going to
trash.
open with all these other people
Exactly.
who are just like, hey, look at me, I can play a video game.
Yeah.
And I don't know you from anybody else. Hey, follow me, I'll follow you. That's bullshit. And it really, really makes me upset. There was an instance, I wanted to speak to what you said about Monster Cat. So there was there's another program that Twitch launched with SoundCloud earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm.
This was primarily for like music people though.
Exactly.
to allow for musicians to broaden themselves and to utilize that copyrighted material.
Yeah.
This right here is a whole nother thing, though. Like, if they
Exactly.
wanted to do it specifically for, like, specialized people, that's fine. But to
Exactly.
generalize it on an even base, that, yeah,
You know what's funny?
Mm.
Before this news story, you never heard of the SoundCloud program. I didn't know. I didn't
No.
know anything about it. And after hearing about it, that's badass. I think that's. I think like exactly what you said. A specialized corner of Twitch. Twitch is about video game players and other stuff, music and
Correct.
everything. But first and foremost, it is a platform for gamers. So if you want to do something specialized, I'm okay with that. But when you're talking about, like you said, some dude that's like, I like playing Call of Duty, but I don't want to work for it. Like, get that shit out of here. Because
Yeah.
one thing that I absolutely see in myself, you, Josh, everybody that we associate with, all of our streaming friends, they fucking have a good time doing it. We don't give a shit if we make money. It's cool as hell when you do. When you get that subscription, or you get bits, or you get any of that little stuff, it's cool as hell, and it's a neat little thing. We will not be partners. We just won't. And if we are partners, it's going to be half a decade to a decade away. That's just how the growth works for people like us. We're not like Mike Soroy that has a radio show and can use that to become partner. We just don't have that. You have to have a lot of luck. I hope we get there. Josh, I hope you get to be a partner. Charlie, I hope you get to be a partner. I would love to be a partner. That'd be cool. Yeah. One, it kind of doesn't matter because the partner benefits are not that much different from affiliate. It's a little different. You get a little bit more from subscriptions, and you get a little bit more promotion. But in the grand scheme, it's not that different. So, but the whole point is that we have a good time doing it. It's fun when people are watching us. It doesn't have to be 1,000. It'd be cool if it was. But you guys hanging out, like last night, Charlie, your stream. It was fucking great. Josh, the other day when we were sitting there watching you play Hitman, it was cool. And there was like 7 of us. There was like 10 of us in there.
I don't want to perturb like anyone's goal from being partner. Josh, I can really foresee you're the first one partner out of all of us.
Sure.
That's great. But the fact is you're doing it passionately. You're doing it the right way.
Right.
You're going in, producing great content, producing, wonderful entertainment.
You're having a good time.
Man.
You're having a good time.
Mitch, you are having a fantastic time. You are killing it at Rocket League. You're doing a great job. I'm coming in here doing my zany stuff and making connections with people.
Think about this, Charlie.
My fear, hold on just one second.
Go ahead.
My fear is the one person who buys their way into this and then I don't want to say cheats their way because, if it's allotted by the system, it's allowed, but it's that weaselly way.
Right.
That they make their way up the pecking order without, I don't know, like earning it.
Sure.
That's what kind of rubs me the wrong way. And like I see a lot of friends I've made along the way. Heck, like they're like, oh man, I'm at 1,000 followers right now. And like, I've watched them through their streams. They are funny. They are hilarious. They love all the people on their streams. They address everyone the right way. They give out free subscriptions to everyone, who wants to use their emotes. They're doing it the right way.
Right.
It's those other people that are going to go in there and literally just like pay their way in. And then like, if they could pay their way in that way, they're going to pay some bot to come in, and have you seen those advertisements where it's like, hey, you want to become famous? You've seen on the spams all the time. You want to become famous? You want to get more followers? Hit this click or click this like or whatever, And it's stupid. It's I don't know. Maybe nothing. It's the fact that it's getting like too. It's taking the heart out of it, to be honest.
A little bit. And I see the tweets all the time. Hey, for $12, we'll get you 1,000 Twitter followers that are fucking nobody. It's not a person. They don't look at your tweets. They're bots. And it's the same thing on
Yeah.
Twitch. You can buy 1,000 followers. What the fuck does it mean?
Yeah.
Nothing. They're not real. And the look, 99% of the people that use this service, the Monster Cat service, are not they're going to get thrown out to the side, kind of how like most people do it. They're not going to be the kind of people that are going to be dedicated like we are to, not dedicated to working hard and just going at it hardcore, but just dedicated to just fuck it. Let's have fun. Let's play
Yeah.
Among Us and drink whiskey. Who the fuck
Yeah.
cares if people are watching? It's a lot cooler when people do, but people can see when you're having a good time.
Yeah.
If you're sitting there, you're paying your $5 a month, and you're like, hey, you should subscribe to me because you can. No one's gonna fucking do it because you're not relevant.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to. And I'm with you, Charlie. Like it's not gonna affect me in terms of like my commitment to continuing to put on good stuff. But it is that I worked hard to get where I'm at. I feel proud of how I worked to get to where I'm at, and I'm proud of
Yeah.
all of my friends, especially you guys, you two, where
Yeah.
we are now and from where we started. And I love seeing these goals that we've met and the ones that we continue to try to reach. When a lot of people can just pay $5 and not have to work for it, it's crap.
Yeah.
Twitch has got to get a hold of their messaging. They've got to do a better job because all they're doing is
Yeah.
creating more confusion, and eventually people are going to get sick of it and leave. And I
Yeah.
don't want it to get to that because I really like Twitch. I do. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. And you know, I don't want to go to Facebook. I don't like Facebook and YouTube. I don't want to learn a new system, and I don't know. Anyway, let's put this to bed. Let's move on. We got a couple more stories here. Charlie, why don't you give us the next story? Let's talk about Xbox.
So I read an article about this earlier this week. Well, earlier this week, yesterday. Pretty much is one of those like if you can't develop them, acquire them methodology that Xbox is presumably taken, especially since they purchased Bethesda and it was just Bethesda, right?
That's the big one. That's the most recent one. I mean, they've been purchasing.
Correct.
They purchased Obsidian last year.
Correct. Yeah. Well, like, and Phil Spencer was talking in regards to he's really disappointed that there are a lot of people who have missed out on the pre-orders, and he was obviously like telling those Xbox hopefuls that they're like just hold on, we're going to get as many more units out there, we promise y'all. But and also the same interview, they were asking in regards to like, are they going to acquire more? And he's like, oh yeah, absolutely, they're going to be buying more studios. And this leaves me at pause because then it's like, okay, so you're acquiring a whole bunch of property.
Right.
It makes me wonder what you're doing in regards to your own like your original studio that you had.
Sure.
Because you've got Halo Infinite that's supposed to be coming out. That's apparently got a wider range of patches that are filing through that funnel.
Right.
Fable, a lot of people are excited about that thing, and
Everything from
what
Rare.
what intellectual properties, like, I don't know, maybe it's just a business plan, and maybe that this is just the new gaming frontier where you have Microsoft and you have Sony. Poor little Nintendo somehow keeps trucking along doing their own thing. Like if third parties want to come to them, they're like, sure, whatever. Mario will always keep us afloat, and so will Link. So we're good here. Stadia, don't know, don't care. But
Agree.
yeah, it lends me pause because like we obviously we have this, although we both love video games, there is this definite like ideological like subtle difference between the both of us because I'm praising Sony's exclusives, and while it's not fair, like I really wish that all their games can be readily available.
It's 100% fair.
Yeah, it does. It makes the gamer have to decide, hey, I could
100%.
play all these third-party games, plus, I could play Xbox games on my PC and just go ahead and get the PS5.
100%.
And so it gives me pause because I'm like, okay, so yes, Xbox is still continuing to acquire new properties. Maybe that's just how everything is, in the foreseeable future. Harden's going to the Nets. They're going to be a, monster
Bringing
East
it back
team.
to
And
sports.
heck yeah, I am. The Greek Freak's going to come to Dallas and we're going to win the next 10 NBA championships.
Gordon
Um,
Hayward.
bring it on, man.
I'll
Just
take it.
leave his broken ankle in
Oh,
Boston.
it's fine.
Um, we already got one here. We don't need another.
No.
Um, but it's interesting that the way the landscape is going now, that like these two monster companies they're in a weird arms race right now, where it's
Sure.
like, yeah, we're gonna keep acquiring. So yeah, go ahead and speak. I'm sorry.
Well, no. I was gonna say, as the I don't want to say, when I say the resident Xbox guy, it makes it sound like I'm an Xbox fanboy, and that's
No,
not
you're far
it.
from that.
But I mean, I follow, of the two of us, I follow Microsoft closer than, and just like you with Sony. So Sony, back during the PS3 and PS4, early PS4 era, they did exactly the same thing like Microsoft is doing right now. They bought Insomniac. They bought Bend Studios that made Days Gone. The oh, Josh, what are you doing? For those of you on VOD or on audio, Charlie's brother Josh just said, "Oh Lord, my son is eating a zebra cake this late. It is 10:15 Central Time currently. He's never going to bed." Anyway,
Someone will be streaming Hitman later,
and that's because during the PS3 era and 360 era, it was all about the 360. Everything that the 360 put out internally was game busters. Say what you want about some of those Halo games on the 360, including ODST. They sold like crazy. People love ODST. I don't. I think it's a bad game. Halo Reach, the Halo games, the Gears games, just everything that came out in that era. Sony, coming out of the PS3 era and into the PS4 era, did exactly what Microsoft is doing right now, because they were lagging behind. They just were. God of War was in a place where we thought God of War was done. Mm-hmm. There wasn't going to be any more, because Ascension came out and everyone was like, fucking get out of here, we're done with God of War. We're like, why are you doing this? And we're now in that cycle where now Microsoft needs to catch up. In Halo's only going to get them so far. Game Pass is only going to get them so far. Game Pass, I'll say it for the millionth time on this podcast. This is my default. It's the best value in gaming. It's the best value in gaming. That's only going to get you so far if you don't have new games from your internal studios. So,
do you get subsidies every time you say that?
I feel like I should. Microsoft, give me a call. Phil Spencer, hit me up on Twitter. And John Cena. So,
John Cena.
Anyway, Microsoft is now in that spot where their first party production is lacking. Rare is in a really weird spot. Sea of Thieves did not do as well as it could have. Sea of Thieves is a fine game. It's neat, but it's not. Yeah. It's not the killer app that they bought Rare for.
Yeah.
Who knows when Fable's coming? Who knows when Halo Infinite is coming? We don't know. So they're collecting new studios, and they brought in Obsidian. Obsidian makes incredible games. If Obsidian starts making really good games for them, that's really good. And they can start attempting to compete with Sony's. They're not going to catch them right now. They're just not. This is if they do catch them, it's going to be at the end of this cycle. Sony's doing way too many good things right now, which we'll talk about here in the topic in a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. But if they're going to compete with Sony, which is what they want to do, it's got to be more than Game Pass. And so And hopefully Phil Spencer, and one of the things he's also said is that, yeah, we're going to buy companies, but we're also going to be smart about it. We're going to buy the companies that make sense. They're not going to just start buying everything. The Bethesda one makes 100% sense. They have such a deep library of stuff, and so it makes sense for them to do that. So I don't know, I don't think it's a bad thing unless they just buy bad companies. So, but they've got a lot. They got to catch up there because they just don't have a lot coming up. We'll go ahead and Charlie, you got anything else on that? I don't want to move on unless you got something.
No, I mean, I've said my piece pretty much on how I feel about that.
So the last thing, it's funny because you I kind of did this on purpose. I had you read the Xbox news, and I'm going to read the one piece of Sony news. So this actually happened today. The head of Sony, I can't remember his name because I'm a bad broadcaster. Today he would not. So he was asked if the new God of War Ragnarok will also be on the PS4, and he would not say either way. And so I thought it'd be interesting to talk for a couple minutes about that game and what basically, do you think they'll put out a PS4 version of that game? And should they?
You're asking me at a time when I don't have my PS5 yet. I honestly think, I mean, depending on how many units that they are looking to release, which hopefully will be plentiful, I really, really think that they should do what they did with God of War 3 and just make it purely for the next gen, current gen, the PS5. Strictly because if you are, look what is happening to Cyberpunk. We can talk about a topic right now and today that is causing delays because they're having to fit a much larger peg into a much smaller round hole by fitting Cyberpunk, a vastly large game. Like, I don't know if you read the report, it's going to come in 2 discs for the PS4.
Right.
Which, man, the last time I've seen multiple discs for a video game, that was for Xbox. When all the quote unquote bigger games for the PS3 were encased on one disc. That was when, obviously the Blu-ray versus the DVD Red Ray. And so I really think they should move forward because if you're trying to do the same thing to God of War, again, we have no clue how far they are in their development.
Yeah.
We
still question if it's coming out next year.
We have a logo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am cautiously optimistic that they can make a Christmas deadline next year. Who knows? They may show something in late January that'll blow our minds like, okay, here it comes. And you know what? I'm not surprised that development for video games isn't becoming more and more streamlined as we move along with the process. God of War, the original God of War, the God of War before this one, they had to develop a whole new system. They had to develop whole new worlds. They had to develop a whole new fighting approach. They already have the backbone in place. They already have the models in place to extrapolate and elaborate from that. Obviously, it takes a lot of work, but they don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
So it's possible that it can be done for both consoles. Mm-hmm. My fear is, though, exactly what is happening with Cyberpunk is that, they're going to have, obviously with a sequel, you're going to have a bigger and badder game that comes along with it. How much bigger is it going to be, and will it be able to fit in the PS4? That being said, you'll be able to play was it PS5 games from your PS4 through the PSN network, which is
Bonkers.
blows my mind
Bonkers.
how
Crazy.
that will work. So maybe it's good. It's good, like I don't know.
Yeah.
The long story short, my decision is like I don't know.
So
I would like for them to move forward,
hmm,
but if it does behoove them and if it does make sense at the time to say, hey, and like who knows, maybe Cyberpunk they were too late in the process to start thinking, hey, we should probably develop something for PS4.
I think that's true.
Maybe Sony, was it Santa Monica Studios, has already been thinking about this as things have been moving along, and they're already starting like a quote, B team to make, you know, adjustments to fit the PS4 template. So, video games, man. I don't care. Sure, do it.
Yeah. Well,
Make it for the PS3 too. Put it on the PSP.
yeah. Oh God. Um. I think they should make it a PS5 exclusive, and I think they will. And here's why I think they should. Um, Miles Morales on the PS5 looks fucking great, but it is also a first generation game that is built upon the PS4 version. That's how launch titles that are cross gen work. You
Yeah.
make the old version first, and then you work on the upresing and everything and making it look flashier. That's how that's always been
Okay.
done since the PS2 and forward.
Back
Going
in my
in
day.
back in Mad Day, the second year of your console should be about showing what this thing can do, what the power of
Yeah.
these systems should
Put the
be.
pedal to the metal.
And God of War, and to a slightly lesser extent, Horizon, are your two
Hmm.
games that need to show what this system can do. So you don't need to be messing around with an old version of that game. And the reason why I think that they're not going to do it, or they're not going to put it on PS4, is one, I think they would have already said we're going to put it on PS4. I think they just would have. But I think
That's
they
true.
want as many people between now and the summer, because this game's not coming out until fall. Between now and the summer, they want to sell as many PS5s as they can till then. Then, when God of War comes out, they want to sell more. If you tell people specifically, God of War, PS5 exclusive, there's going to be a lot of people that wait. Well, we all know, Charlie, we come from a financial department. It's all about now. It's all about this fiscal year.
That's
They
true.
they don't want to risk sales now for this year going into next year when they think that they can essentially double it up. Not double it up, but you know what I mean. They basically can get it on all sides. So,
Yeah.
but mostly, again, you got to have something that's going to show the power of it. Demon Souls is doing that, and to a lesser extent, because Demon Souls is your exclusive. This is only on this. And Spider-Man Miles Morales looks incredible. Think about how incredible God of War, if they just focus on the PS5 version, how incredible that game is going to look and showcase the power of the PS5. Halo Infinite is not coming out for the Xbox One. They're using that as Microsoft is using that for better or for worse. They're using that as this is the power of the Xbox Series.
Yeah.
So you've got to take I would say God of War is their number one game. That's their series. That's the thing that is sells systems. It sold systems on the PS4, and it's going to sell systems on the PS5. Showcase the shit out of your system. So that's what I think they're going to do. I hope they do. I really do. And I hope by then you have a PS5. But
Oh,
you'll have one.
you will hear me cry
Oh
from the
my God.
mountaintop on
Yeah.
December 25th if it's not in that freaking under
You're
that
going to be
flipping tree.
you're going to be selling
I will throw the tree out the window.
you're going to be selling hand jobs for a PS5 if it comes to it. Anyway, so that's the news. One release this week. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. That's that Dynasty Warriors Zelda game. That's the sequel to Hyrule Warriors. I don't like Dynasty Warriors. I don't care about this game, but it's out. Cool. I guess it looks cool.
Mortal Kombat 11 come out already?
Yeah, but that game's already been out.
Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate,
Sure.
the
Okay.
definitive
Okay.
experience.
Sure. That's not a new release, but yes, that also came out this week. So that's the
Yeah,
news. That's the releases. So
PS5.
speaking of the PlayStation 5, Charlie, it's the topic of the show, and we're gonna do the same thing we did last week, and we're gonna talk about impressions. This week it's your turn. You've been playing that Spider-Man Miles Morales. Tell me all about it.
Well, I don't exactly have a box here to show off and doing an unboxing of a disc because I'm slowly becoming purely digital.
Digital man.
Um, just to put a background, so I have literally been following Spider-Man ever since I started collecting comic books. Probably when I was in first or second grade, started with issue number 326 for ASM. Spider-Man fought Magneto. I actually got it on an accident. I was trying to get so when you get this the subscriber little pamphlet, it tells you that you're going to get 12 issues. Where I thought that you had to jot in 12 titles, and ASM happened to be the first on the list, so they sent me that. And I was hoping to get X-Men actually, but 35 years later, I'm playing Marvel's Spider-Man for the PS4 on my PS4 Pro. I fell in love with that game. I That game is everything I thought I wanted in a Spider-Man game, and I'm including Spider-Man 2 from the PS2. Um, you are Spider-Man in that game. You are Peter Parker in that game. It is one of the most beautiful games that I've seen on the PS4. It is New York. It is alive. It's not just a random city of like happen chances. You land in the middle of a crowd. There's various types of reactions that um, non NPCs or whatever react to in regards and how they react to you. I have become the hero that I have read about all my life. So when I heard that Miles Morales was coming out with this video game, it blows my mind. I just want to say this, that not just Spider-Man has a video game, but Miles Morales, a construct of from Bendis, who came up with an alternative Spider-Man, an alternative Ultimate Universe, who is completely different from Peter Parker. He is a Puerto Rican African American, super smart, not well off. He's still got the quote unquote Parker luck, but he has now become a hero in his own right, and he has become the hero for a whole bunch of kids. My child loves this character. Like he loves Into the Spider-Verse. That's his favorite movie. He falls asleep to it. The one thing that we enjoy together, and he takes a nap like halfway through it, which is hilarious. And so when I played this game, I played through, I would say, about 7 hours of it. And so I've got plenty more to play. First impressions, it's a gorgeous game. To see New York now at a different season, it's awesome to see the subtle differences. How Central Park looks in a sheet of white. To see everyone bundled up in overcoats and huddled up, bustling around the busy snowy streets of New York City. It feels cold when you're playing through the game.
Right.
So the fact that it allows the player to immerse himself into that game, not just being the superhero, but being a person, in that game, it pulls you in. It looks great. That's a very generalized statement, but it does. I can only imagine what it does for the PS5. Again, I'm playing this on the PS4 Pro. This PS4 Pro has no ray tracing. Oh my gosh. I've seen footage of what that looks
It's
like,
just incredible.
and how water looks, reflections in that.
The lighting.
Um, the lighting, I mean, it you guys watched me play the other night. I spent half the time chit chatting with you guys while web slinging, not even going to a mission.
Right.
Half my brain is literally on talking to the chat. My other half is like, oh my God, look at that building over there. Oh
Mhm.
my God, there's like icicles right there, like, on the edge of the roof. Just crazy stuff. Like I'm like, we're like, is this Fifth Street? I think this is Fifth. No, I think this is Fifth Avenue. No, this might be Seventh Avenue. The fact that they have all New York almost to a damn T makes me want to go there. Like, I'm asking the chat, like, you guys have been to New York or whatever. Obviously, some of you don't guys don't want to go. I would love to go back. I went in like the
Oh yeah.
fall, like during Veterans Day weekend. Obviously, didn't snow then, but I would love to go back to just see the real life stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully not get mugged or anything like that
Or
or
saw
get
what Felipe
COVID.
or saw what Felipe saw
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah,
crossing the
there's that.
street.
Yeah. Joke for another time, guys. Just DM one of us if you want to know what he saw.
I wish Felipe was here.
But yeah, like, the looks of that game, the feel of that game, how it translates to the controller,
Mm-hmm.
it's seamless. It's one to one. And that leads me right into the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
With Marvel's Spider-Man, it's like we had discussed. The first time I played Batman Arkham Asylum, I was like, okay, Rocksteady, you need to make a Spider-Man game. Because if I have the same, like, you know, um, punch, dodge, button scheme that this game has, I'm all set. I'm in heaven. I don't need any other game ever. And so the fact that, the fighting in this, and I'm speaking about Miles Morales, it literally picks up right where it left off with Peter Parker. And then it expands on it with the Venom powers. Um, the enemies are harder, obviously, with escalating um, with sheer villain escalation. You're gonna fight a lot more a lot more difficult people along the way, who obviously they've reacted to the fact that Spider-Man tore up the city, tore up Hammerhead, tore up Doc Ock in the previous game. Now they're responding to that. I've only come across one, like the villain, like um, the villain's name is the Tinkerer. I won't say who it is, just for the sake of anyone who may be listening or watching this. I don't want to spoil who that person is,
Mm-hmm.
but the reveal in that is fantastic. And like, he's not, or the villain is not one that is such that is normally found like amongst Spider-Man's rogues gallery. It's not Venom. It's not Venom. It's not Carnage. It's not Doc Ock. It's not Vulture. It's not the Green Goblin. God, we've seen Green Goblin, so many versions of him in the movies. But when you've read the comics, he is an integral villain that makes, Peter Parker Spider-Man who he is. And eventually also as well develops, in a way through strife and through fight, Miles Morales as well. And so it's interesting to see how they've incorporated this villain into this game. And, you're like, okay, this is something different. Um, Again, I don't know. I have not gone as further as such where I don't know if there are going to be any more reveals. I will find that out. I can't wait to find that out. But so there's the fighting and there's the villains. The storyline, again, I have only played like, 8 hours into it or whatever. But the jumping from place to place, it's not like Doom where you're constantly running at 11. You have these moments where it's quiet. You're miles. You're walking through a marketplace. You're just literally like there to go see your mom who's running for a political platform in the city, or you're the power is out at the apartment, so you are as Miles Morales hanging out while your mom is making dinner. it goes from that to all of a sudden you're infiltrating the underground's lair, fighting guys in this enclosed area, like, and they're not like normal thugs. They can literally jump and leap, and they pretty much almost have the same abilities that you do. And of course, there's more of them. And even it's so funny because Spider-Man several times breaks the fourth wall in regards to like, oh my god, like how come there are so many more of these guys than I am? And I'm like, well, that's fair, like it takes a whole football team to bring down Spider-Man practically.
Can I interrupt
Yeah,
just
yeah.
real quick?
Intercede whenever you want. I can keep
Yeah.
talking forever.
So, two things. One, I wanted to say something to what you were talking about with the more quiet moments. I've watched you play most of what you've played, because you've
Yeah,
been streaming it, and obviously with me not playing it, it's obviously it's a little different experience. But the thing I really was struck with is that, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of high octane action in the game.
oh yeah,
But I think you really hit it on the head. And in games in general have a really tough time of throttling back
yeah,
and giving you moments of not only to allow yourself to settle down, but also bring in really good storytelling. I mean, as we know, Charlie, storytelling in video games is very difficult. It's not like movies. It's very hard to show inflection. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to put together really good storylines. And
correct.
just in watching you play this, one thing that they do a really good job of is that, like you were talking about, where you're walking with your buddy in the marketplace going to see your mom. Like, it's such a cool, I don't even know how to explain it. It's this really cool moment where you get to pull yourself into Miles the human, the
Yeah,
regular dude,
yep,
just hanging out with his buddy, walking through this really cool marketplace, and kind of feeling like you're there in this marketplace. It does a really good job of that. And
yeah.
I think that it does that really, really well, and I can only imagine how it feels when you're actually playing it. Um, Here's what I'd like to do, and you can obviously audible out of this. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions
Sure.
and just kind of lead you on some things.
Omaha,
I want to start with comparing it to
Omaha.
yeah. I want to start by comparing it to 2018 Spider-Man a little bit.
Okay.
Um, that game is one of, if not your favorite game of that generation. Obviously, the original Spider-Man. It's right there with God of War. Um, in terms, I know you haven't gotten through the entire story, but I know that the story in the first one is very good. It actually won awards on certain websites.
Hmm.
Do you think that the storytelling is as strong as the original Spider-Man,
So
or is it too early to tell?
I've heard from other prognosticators that they like this story a little better than Peter Parker's story. They felt Peter Parker's story was a little more broad, like it was a lot of fetch questing in regards to like, oh, there's a story here, but let's also do this as well. That's video games. Um, I'm liking the story so far a lot. It does what you were speaking to in regards to pulling back. It does two things. One, Miles Morales is, his history is not as long or as deep as Peter Parker's is by far. Like he's still a fairly new Marvel character, and he's fairly
Right.
new on the scene in regards to like people who, you know, they're not comic book readers per se, but like they're just like, oh, what is this Spider-Man movie? And like, oh, who is this guy? Their only exposure to Miles Morales may be from Into the Spider-Verse. And so what it does really, like you said, showcase the human side of who Miles Morales is, on top of the fact that he is this badass, kick-ass, full throttle hero. Um, I like the fact that it is moving at the pace that it is doing. Again, I can't judge a painting based upon like just like the first half that's rendered in yet.
Sure.
Um, It's doing a great job though. It's doing a fantastic job in regards to like the obstacles that he's having to overcome, the plot twist that has already occurred. I do like that though. There was um by some people, a lot of people do not like when they just like shoot a red herring out there and they just kind of dangle it in front of you throughout a game before ever like spoiling that, big reveal.
Mm-hmm.
This game wastes no time in doing that. It jumps right to the point where Miles has to not really make a decision, but will have to make some choices down the line in regards to this plot twist that, falls right on his lap unexpectedly. And so that really, really, how they say the plot really thickens at that point. And so not only is he having to handle this, situation, but, his mother's trying to run for political office. There's issues going on there in regards to like everything that is surrounding that. I'm being very, very um ambiguous because I don't
Yeah.
want to like spoil any of the
No,
major
of
plot
course. No,
points.
and I don't want you to.
But to answer your question, yeah, I mean it's doing a great job. I
Yeah.
won't say whether it's better or worse,
I guess I
but
should. I guess I should have. I should have said that differently. I didn't want to. I didn't want to put you on the spot and pick which one's better. I mean, they can both be,
sure, sure.
good. Okay, so let's go to the gameplay. And again, we're gonna do a little comparison here. I know that the two characters are different in how they just with skill set and things like that. Um, do you feel that the general control of the game is um the same like the same as the original? Not to say that's a bad thing. That's not what I'm
No,
trying to get to. Or do you feel like the iteration that, because obviously it's not a full evolution or even revolution, but the iteration is such that it makes it a better playing game, or at least improve upon what they did in 2018?
I think there definitely have been improvements. To say that, I say that with a grain of salt because they're two different characters.
Sure.
If it were Spider-Man that were carrying over, I could definitely like compare apples to apples. In the basic fighting scheme, yes, there have definitely been improvements by what you can do. Utilizing the new powers that Miles Morales has, it definitely makes the fighting a lot more varied in regards to how you approach things. You can now approach it with a different type of stealth. There are some definite heavy hitters in on the playing field now where you have to utilize your venom capabilities in regards to like stunning them or putting them out. Um, the the skills graph is a lot different. I actually like this one more than 2018 Spider-Man. It seems a little more streamlined to this character, whereas in 2018 it's more like, oh, do I want this Spider-Man to be more gadget heavy, or do I want this Spider-Man to be more skills heavy? This one is more. There's less. I mean, in a way, sometimes more is less. Or did I say that right? No. Sometimes less is more. And you're on mute. um, yeah, sometimes less is more.
Mm-hmm.
And so, from this respect, it's giving me less of a thought and more of like, let's just, jump in the fray and attack everything.
Right.
Even though in a lot of my gameplay, I do choose to do stealth
Yeah.
because of the varied ways you can approach stealth in this game. Like Spider-Man's never been the type to like jump in and just like, hey, let's do this. Batman's been more that type in his Arkham Asylum games. But Spider-Man's always been like the stealthy type, especially when he's going against these ginormous heavies and these ginormous, you know, odds of dozens of people who have, weapons of, decent destruction. that want to do him harm. And so, like, the smart thing to do is, take the high road, take guys out one at a time, and the tools that they give you in Miles Morales are definitely a step higher than what they give you in Spider-Man 2018.
Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah,
All right, I got three quick hits, one quick
yeah,
question, and then two little comments of my own. The quick question: is the Spider-Man series the best superhero series of all time?
yeah.
Okay, better than Batman.
If Batman Arkham Knight was a better game, I'd have to think about this.
Okay, fair enough.
Um, you know me, I'm more of a
Obviously, they're
Spider-Man fan.
and I mean, also to be fair, they're different styles of games.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
styles of games.
I love Arkham City.
Right.
I've played that game more times than is even fair,
Right.
which has actually robbed me from playing other games. And no, Josh, it's actually been proven on YouTube that Spider-Man would destroy Batman. That's just a fact.
Uh oh. Fight night.
There was actually, well, it was called a fight night, and Spider-Man tore Batman's head off.
I also think Spider-Man would win.
Um,
It'd be a good fight though.
it would be a great fight. Um, but yeah, that's when I think about, see, this, that's the thing, is it's one of those, like, if you ask me and just like a quick hit, I'm gonna say Spider-Man immediately. But to say it that quick does not in any way like shun how great the Spider-Man,
No,
the Batman trilogy is,
absolutely
because that
not.
is a really, really good trilogy. Well, I say trilogy. I keep forgetting about Arkham Origins, which I haven't even played yet. So
Well, let's also be fair. The history of superhero video games is not great in general. Like it's not a good
correct.
history overall, and really, the Batman series and the Spider-Man series are really the only two series that are universally loved. Like, I mean, we saw it with that Avengers game that came out this year. Like, it's
Yeah,
like
I was actually
yeah,
Josh,
X Men
as I was going
Arcade.
to
Yeah,
say,
well,
there is
exactly.
the X-Men Arcade. Yes,
Fantastic arcade
definitely.
game. Okay, I have two little quick comments. Just my observations from watching you, and then I'll let you wrap up. The look of the game is absolutely incredible. The amount that they get out of that, and I know that the 2018 PS4 version of Spider-Man also did this too. The amount that they get out of that PS4 system at the end of its life is incredible. The
Hmm.
PS5 version looks incredible, but and this is not a knock against the PS5, man, it looks so good on the PS4.
Hmm.
And that's even seeing it from my angle, which is from a stream, so it's not looking as good as what you're seeing. It's just it looks
Yeah.
so fluid. The flawlessness of the moves and what you do, it looks like you're just doing it with complete ease in a
Yeah.
game that is difficult. So it's really astounding what they can still get out of the old consoles. And it's great, and it does kind of it does make you pause for a second, and you have to be like, could we have waited one more year for the new consoles? Because they're still making really good shit for that old stuff, but
Yeah.
that's really cool. And the last thing I'll say, and this is more just a overall thought of Spider-Man Miles Morales, it's really incredible that in the last few years, we're seeing these minority characters
Hmm.
become as popular as they are. Miles Morales, Black Panther, RIP, that they have become incredibly mainstream and have become heroes to minorities in a
Yeah.
way that you see with Michael Jordan, LeBron James, these sports athletes.
Hmm.
And because because look, Black Panther has been a character that's been around for a while, but let's be realistic. Black Panther is as popular as it is now because of those movies.
Yeah.
And Miles Morales, as you talked about, is a very new character. And, Into the Spider-Verse really brought that character to light. and now this game. And I think it's really, really cool that there is this game that minorities, African Americans, you talked about Puerto Ricans, can be like, this is my superhero.
Yeah.
I think that is incredibly badass, and it's not hokey how sometimes that stuff can be. It's not hokey in the least, and I think that's super cool.
No, I mean, Marvel Comics came from a time when, obviously, the creators were all white Anglo-Saxon Protestant males. They created, most of their characters, most of their superheroes were white back in the day. Obviously times have changed where, there is a much need for, diversity. You know, the fact too, like, I urge you to watch Into the Spider-Verse as soon as you can, because it's just not Miles Morales. It's you have Spider Gwen, who she's a hero in her own right. She's actually one of my favorite um, versions of Spider-Man. Um, you have Spider Ham. You have
Spider
who is
Ham.
who is a pig. Yep.
Is
You
it just
have
Porky Pig?
no, it's Spider
Okay,
Ham.
I
It's
should
not
watch that.
Porky.
I should just watch that movie.
You have Spider-Man Noir. You have Penny Parker. Like, she's an anime Spider-Man who um, her the spirit of her father lives in the droid that she developed, and she also has the spider that bit her. Yeah, it's that one goes places. I'm telling you. You have Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man, 2099. That's a thing that I've always loved about this character. And when I was a kid, it was one thing, but the fact that it's grown into so many things now just showcases the versatility of the hero Spider-Man. And they said it in the movie, is that anyone can wear the mask. You know, it's not Miles Morales Spider-Man. It's not Spider-Gwen. It's not, Spider-Ham. It's Spider-Man. Like, that's who that character is, regardless of like who's behind the mask. And that's the really, really cool thing I've always loved about this character. And, he always gets up. But yeah, I can't hear you. Hello.
That's really cool. All right, so give me your final thoughts, and then we'll move on to the mailbag.
Final thoughts. I mean, I love that game. I can't wait to finish it. I've got plenty of game time. I'm gonna be streaming it on my stream, Charizard 81. Like, I'll probably be on this Thursday, probably be on a little on Friday. So it'll be fun. Come join us.
Yeah, man, everybody should go watch, because it's a
Can't wait to
really
finish
fun
it.
time, and I believe that his Spider-Man streams have been his most fun streams to be in the chat and having a good time, because we've had a pretty good time watching him play it. It's super laid back, so
Yeah.
it's really fun. Anyway, thank you for that review, Charlie. I'm sure you'll have more on that in the coming weeks. One thing I should mention, and we'll mention this at the end, next week, because Charlie and I are off, we will be doing the podcast at a different time.
Oh yeah.
We will.
No, it's gonna be
This is
nice.
news to me. No, next week we're going to be
Ah,
doing it during the day, 2 p.m. Central Time. We wanted to try it at a different time, maybe where we could see some more eyes. Get some more eyes from some of the people across the pond. And we're not going to say, we're still working on the particulars, but we may have a special guest that day, one that some people have wanted us to get, and we're hoping that we can get that done, and we will announce that when we got that official. So I hope you guys will join us next week at 2 p.m. Thanks for all your support, guys. So we're gonna move on. Thanks again, Charlie. We'll talk about that. I'm sure next week some more. And now, ladies and
yeah,
gentlemen,
yeah.
it is time to move on and we're gonna hit up our next what we sometimes consider our favorite segment of the week, and that's gonna be the mailbag. And if you have any questions, you can hit us up on any number of places. You can hit us up in the chat right now. You can hit us up on Discord on the MC Squad. You can hit us up on our Twitter accounts, Charizard81 or Team Llama Gaming. Charlie, it's a little bit of a light mailbag this week, but that's okay. We got some pretty good questions as usual. And we're going to start from our friend Nico. Nico says, if you're stuck in one room for the rest of your life, what are you putting in that room?
Well, I know I'm going to put a toilet in there. That's
sure.
That's the first thing that I was
just going to get a bucket.
God, here's the thing. Like, how big is this room?
I assume it's I assume it's a typical 10 by 10.
I'm like, let's see, everything in my man cave I put in there. Definitely bring my books.
Yeah, Nico didn't put any caveats on it, so I feel like it's just kind of. I feel like we should put it to a limited amount of stuff, because I feel like we can't just be like, well, I'll just bring in this, and just fill it to the brim with all my shit, and then you're fine the rest of your life. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's
put an ATM machine in there,
right? Like stupid shit like that. Oh, I'm gonna put in a Little Caesars. But I mean, obviously we're putting
Little Caesars reference today.
Yep. Hey, it's delicious pizza. Obviously we're gonna put in consoles and streaming equipment. I guess more off the cuff stuff. I mean, I'm definitely gonna put books and stuff in there. I don't know. Like,
if you were allotted one book,
yeah, it would be the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy collection, the collection of 5 books in one. Okay. That's what I'm picking. I can read that 5-part trilogy, as they call it, over and over and over and over again. Nice. What about you?
Boy, like, can I put my comic book collection in there? Since we're talking collections, that's about 2,000 books.
You can pick one.
Yeah. Gosh, I would have to say, and I haven't even read it yet. Is it sad to say I haven't read it yet? I would want it to be the Green Lights book.
Oh, the McConaughey?
The McConaughey.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Journals.
I guess I could pick one of my 2 Beatles biographies that I bought that are like 1,500 pages and still haven't opened. I should stream less and read more. So, but yeah. Nico, I hope that answered your question. You left it a little too open-ended. Yeah, in a toilet. All right, let's move on to our good friend Josh Shizzle. Twitch.tv/JoshShizzle2323. What is the best room to assassinate someone in Hitman? Charlie, you've played Hitman. What's your favorite room to assassinate people? I know what Josh's is. And it would be mine too.
So you guys pretty much got it. Generalized room, yeah, it's the bathroom, but it would have to definitely be a bathroom with a storage closet in it.
Sure, yeah. You could store multiple people.
Killing men in bathrooms several times and there not be a storage closet nearby, and all of a sudden shit hits the fan because the head security guy walks in and is like, hey, what the hell? And so yeah. Yeah, I'd say the security closet. The kitchen can be fun because you're coming across like cans of spaghetti or knives and such. Oh, okay. So maybe it's not the best room. It's probably at least I like this room. It's the funnest room for me. The room in Esponzia, I think that's what the place is called, and it's where the virus is at. and you're underground. I mean, you're pretty much closed off, like by dust barriers and everything like that. But so there are like hydrochloric acid vats in there. And if you knock anybody out, yeah, you could pretty much just like liquefy these guys that you just want to store away. Yeah. Yeah, that place. No, not gonna work here anymore.
No, not gonna work.
Yeah, so if you knock any of those guys out, and like, because they've been liquefied, you can literally like take everyone who comes in there, knock them out, walk them over, dump them in the acid vat.
There you go. I haven't played Hitman aside from the opening tutorial, but I could say that the bathroom would be my place too, because it's funny. That's the funniest place. Hey, come on in here and take a shit with me. Knockout, done. Love it.
Give them a swirly while they're
give them a swirly, man.
Drowning.
Hell yeah. All right, we got very late, and I'm talking like in the last 30 minutes on the Discord. Nice. We got a late question from our good friend Sean, our Texas Jedi.
Bless.
I feel like Sean knows you and knew that this was going to be perfect for you. What is the worst movie you ever paid to see in the movie theater? Charlie, I know what your answer is, but go ahead and give it to me.
I mean, Sean knows me, but he probably doesn't know my answer, and it was Brothers Grimm.
Hell yeah.
That was quite a movie. We watched. I literally it's out of morbid curiosity. I want to check that thing out just to see if it really is as bad as it is.
Has to be, right?
Funny
story.
I'm trying to figure out what compelled me to spend money on that thing.
Funny story. I was supposed to go with you guys.
Uh-huh.
And you know why I didn't? Because I was fucking poor. I couldn't even afford the $12 to go to the theater and couldn't go. And man, I've never felt better about being poor than that moment. So I've got a couple of candidates. It could be Wing Commander. That movie is so bad. Wing Commander is one of the movies that's been the closest where I've walked out. But I think the answer for me, and it's absolutely the closest I've ever gotten to walk out. And in fact, my friend's dad who took us walked out of the movie because it was so bad. It's Dungeons and Dragons. Holy shit. Man. And here's the thing. My friend's dad loves Dungeons and Dragons. Obsessed with Dungeons and Dragons. Wanted to see this movie. And he walked out. It is the biggest garbage heap of a movie of all time. It's... Oh my god, it's so bad. Yeah, the Wing Commander is really fucking bad too. It's really bad. But it's Dungeons and Dragons. Like I would say, like Chairman of the Board, that's a big joke. But I was a kid. Like I don't know any better. It's probably a fucking garbage movie. But back then, like I was a stupid kid who liked Carrot Top. So, You
watch like Ricky Romano or any of the SNL movies?
I mean, not in the theater. Well, that's not true. I saw Ladies Man in the theater.
Pat.
I did not see It's Pat. I did watch It's Pat, but not in the theater. I saw Ladies Man in the theater. That's a fucking garbage movie. Holy shit, that's bad. Like Night of the Roxbury is a bad movie, but I don't think it's that terrible. Yeah, man, Ladies Man's real bad. Wow, it's real bad.
It's the Ladies Man.
It's a good character.
It is a good character.
It's a good character.
It's not that bad of a movie.
It's as a movie, like most SNL movies, it's a good 10-minute bit, but you don't need to make an hour and a half movie. Yeah, that's probably a real bad one too. Let's move on. These are a couple of personal questions just to fill out the mailbag. What is the best taco meat filling?
Steak.
Cut up steak.
Yep. Barbacoa steak.
Yeah.
Nice street taco with barbecue. I mean, Puerco de Pilbil is pretty good too. I don't know.
What about them fish tacos in California, bro?
Oh man, those were so good in Encinitas, dude.
Oh my
Holy
god.
crap!
Man, fish is real good in tacos. Shrimp is really good.
Yeah,
Okay, you know what? The answer is
yeah, carne
the
asada.
answer is every meat.
Yeah, not tofu. Good
No,
lord.
that's not meat. Shredded chicken? Fuck yeah. Nice pork? Hell yeah. Even ground beef, bro.
Man, Taco Casa. I don't care where you guys are at on the stream or on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find your way to a Taco Casa, just go grab one.
Oh my
It's
god, it's
worth it.
taco casas. Get you a colossal taco. That thing's fucking huge. It's amazing. They put like a pound of cheese on that shit.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I fucking love it.
It's like a $5 taco, isn't it?
It's like $4, but it's like 2 tacos in one.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
It's so good. All right, last question. With the launch, we just had our launch of the consoles, and Charlie, even though you didn't play it
Yeah.
on a PS5, I'm gonna allow you, if you want to say Spider-Man Miles Morales, you can.
Okay.
What is your favorite? Not the best. What is your favorite launch title game ever?
Super Mario World.
Damn, I didn't think about that. Now I got to change my answer.
Like seriously, that when I came home with that thing and I got to open it on Christmas, because what, long story short, we didn't believe in a certain someone at the North Pole. We knew where all our presents came from.
You take that
we wrapped
back.
our own presents. We got to open it in the afternoon on Christmas morning, but that showed me, God, that video games could do, like, even in a simple, like, it was a side-scrolling video game, 16-bit, yada yada yada. Like, it is like, it's your favorite video game of all time, but it is literally like one of the most complete, the best video games. And when I started playing it, it was like, complete zen. Like, there are other games, obviously, like Miles Morales, God bless, I'm loving playing that game all the time. But I'm playing it as a 39-year-old adult, and I'm like, being very, very critical on, like, moves and such, and this and this and that. God of War 3 was really, really good for the PS3. I never played Killzone, so that was out there. Halo 3 I never really jumped on top of for the Xbox 360. But yeah, that or Madden 99. God bless.
Madden 99 on
The PS2.
No, that was 2001.
Okay, 2001. Thank you.
Hmm?
I was like, which one is that?
More on that in scatter shooting.
But yeah, it would have to be Super Mario World.
Yeah, Super Mario World for sure. But the hold on, I gotta. Sorry, Charlie. Sorry, Josh. I hate to break it to you. Also not a launch title. The Super Mario World, obviously being my favorite game of all time, that would be the answer. Yeah. But I was going to say I had two really good ones. First, for the PlayStation 2, the original SSX snowboarding, incredible game, so good. But my answer was going to be Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Switch.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just it's the size and scale of that game and how incredible it looks like. It's easily, for what the system is, the greatest looking launch title of all time. I think it's the best looking. I haven't had a chance to see in person some of the PS5 stuff like Demon's Souls, but just in terms of just the beauty of the game, I think Breath of the Wild is the greatest looking game of all time at launch. But just an incredible achievement for a launch title. So that's what I was going to say. But yeah, SSX is incredible. Yeah, like, you know, a lot of times launches, Josh, December 3rd, 1996 for Shadow of the Empire. The look, like most launches don't have great games.
You weren't in Japan.
By the way, Shadow of the Empire was never released in Japan. I'm sorry, Josh. It was released in North America and in PAL networks over in the UK. Anyway, we're getting bogged down here. I don't even remember what I was saying, but that's okay.
No Wii Sports. No.
Wii Sports is great. I mean, it's a really cool thing that shows off what that controller is. You know what? I'm gonna close the chat. I can't anymore.
Nah.
But Wii Sports did a really good job of showing off what that system could do. Josh, I looked it up.
All right, Keith, talk to me.
Go to the Wikipedia page. Anyway, the way that it showed off that system was really, really cool, and it was a pack-in, something that systems really hadn't done in a long time. Apparently that Astro bot game on the PS5 is really fucking good. The pack-in for the PS5 is supposed to be really, really damn good. When you get your PS5, I'll be interested in what you think about that game. But anyway, that's gonna do it for the mailbag. Thank you guys so much for the questions. Good questions as usual. If you have any questions, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Discord, hit us up in the chat. Give us a phone call. Come up to us in person on our laps and say hi. But thank you guys so much as usual for that. And now, Charlie, it is time for the final segment of the week, which that final segment is a little something like this. And now it's time for Tuesday Night Scatter Shooting with your host, Mickle Burnt, right here on the MC Gamescast. Oh, thank you so much, female lady. I hope you're having an incredible day, female lady. Thank you so much. Speaking of SSX, scatter shooting wondering ever happened to the SSX series. They haven't made one of those in a long time, and that's disappointing because SSX is such an incredible game. SSX Tricky, even better. Speaking of SSX, with the launch of the new consoles, I was going to do this in a topic of the week, but we're going to do it in scatter shooting. I thought it would be fun to look back on my favorite console launch of all time, and the last time that I bought a console on launch day, and that would be the PlayStation 2 Entertainment System. It launched on October 26th, 2000. The PS2 launch was met with shortages, which, I mean, that's just what happens with video game consoles. But it caused a lot of people that pre-ordered the console to come up empty on the 26th, including yours truly. However, I would not go empty-handed in the end, as a friend who pre-ordered at the same GameStop one step ahead of me, who was supposed to get one, I was the first one after the cutoff, decided to go to a Kmart, scatter shooting, wondering whatever happened to Kmart, to go stand in line overnight to buy one there. He then went with me to the GameStop and asked to allow me to use that pre-order for my pre-order, and I was able to get the PS2. The PS2 launch games might be the best collection of launch games of all time. It included the 3 titles that I bought, which was Madden 2011, great version of Madden, Time Splitters, which I bought a multi-tap for, and SSX. Other big titles from that launch included the Technical Marvel Fantavision, the Great Tekken Tag Tournament, a console port of Unreal Tournament, Midnight Club Racing, and Ridge Racer 5. The PS2 would go on to be the best-selling console of all time until the aforementioned Nintendo Wii. We talked a lot about Extra Life this episode, and I thought it would be cool to go over some incredible numbers. For the 2020 campaign, gamers have raised over $13 million to help hospitals in the Children's Miracle Hospital Network, and have raised over $70 million since the inception of Extra Life. And that includes the $265 that we raised. So I thought it would be cool to look at this year's numbers and look at the top 10 teams based on the amount that has been donated to said teams. At number 1, Magic the Gathering, the card collectible game, has raised $928,676. Rooster Teeth, the online streaming video game site, $678,000. Dungeons and Dragons, $426,000. Coming in at number 4, Team Giant Bomb, the team that I joined up with, $215,000. Studio Wildcard, nice. $182,000. Kind of Funny, the Greg Miller outfit, $149,000. Mindcrack, $147,000. Frag Force, $121,000. Imager, $101,000. And rounding out the top 10, Intrepid Studios, $89,000. So shout out to all the gamers out there donating lots and lots and lots of money to an incredible cause. And the year's not over. Microsoft announced this week that the Xbox Series S and X launch was the best selling in Microsoft's console history at launches, but it's going to take a lot to knock off the fastest selling console of all time, the Nintendo Switch. In the first 10 months after its release, the system sold 8.4 million units in the United States, beating out the Nintendo Wii, which sold 4 million in the same time frame. More incredible was the game ownership percentages. More than 60% of Switch owners owned Super Mario Odyssey, 55% Zelda Breath of the Wild, and 50% owned, Charlie, one of your newest games, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So nice. A lot of people bought Nintendo Switches, and a lot of people bought those games. And finally, a quintuple joke series. This is about video games. What's the difference between a G-spot and a golf ball? A guy will actually search for a golf ball.
Wow.
What's the difference between a tire and 365 used condoms? One is a good year, the other is a great year. What's the difference between your boyfriend and a condom? Condoms have evolved. They're not so thick and insensitive anymore. What's the difference between ooh and ah? About 3 inches. And finally, what's the difference between a Greyhound bus terminal and a lobster with boobs? One is a crusty bus station, and the other is a busty crustacean. Thanks for hanging out with your old pal, Michael Bernardo, right here on the MC Gamescast scatter shooting. Next week is gonna be the other guy. Have a good time.
Crunch.
Gamescast, Mitch and Charlie.
There's video games in those jokes.
What is that about video games? We're talking about Mario golf balls. And those 365 condoms were used by Master Chief.
Oh wow. Go Cortana. Wow.
God damn it. Now it's time for the dismount after that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening and watching today's episode. It was a fun episode. We'll be back next week, Charlie, at a different time. I'm super looking forward to this. First of all, I'm looking forward to doing it during the day. Potentially more eyes on the podcast, but also not finishing at almost 11:30. That's also nice. But thanks to everybody that hung out in the stream. Josh especially for hanging out for most of it. Nico and K-Slay for dropping in. And everybody that dropped in, thank you guys so much. Charlie, you will be back on Thursday with a little bit more of that Spider-Man Miles Morales, not Spider-Man Morales. A little bit more of that Spider-Man Miles Morales. And of course, because Charlie and I are going to be off starting on Friday and through the next week through Thanksgiving, we will be having some Renegade streams going on and maybe even some co-streams. I know Josh is also off next week and he's going to be doing a lot more streaming too, which is fantastic. And
oh yeah,
Friday night, we are back with some of that Among Us. And it's going to be great. Charlie, you got anything before we take this sucker out?
Oh my gosh. Great podcast today, man. I'm so glad to take tomorrow off. God, I've streamed, was it 4 out of the last 5 days? Mm-hmm. So it's going to be nice to get a day off. Can't wait to get back on that Miles Morales on Thursday, though. And yeah, next time we talk, it'll be a Thanksgiving Day podcast.
Hell yeah.
Who we got coming on?
Well, let's make sure we confirm.
Do we have somebody?
I don't want to.
Maybe.
Look, I don't want to make any promises, but it's possible this person lives across the pond. I'm just saying.
Oh.
And he might like
the Queen of England.
He might like doing a little bit of blasting with certain digits.
Oh my gosh.
Alrighty, folks. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with a little something, probably some Battlefield 5, and then maybe a little bit of Rocket League after that. Josh will be back for his lunch time Hitman.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a good time, and I started the music too late, and I got to vamp more. If you you know what, if you're watching this, I never mentioned this. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. That helps us. If you're listening to us on the podcast networks, hit us up with a review. That also helps us. And
extra life.
And we're going to be continuing Extra Life throughout the rest of the year. Make sure you guys donate anything you can, even if it's $1. We appreciate it very much. We're having a great time with that. For Charlie Zarzuela, I am Mitchell Barron, as is the MC Gamescast.
Buy some merch.
Buy all of our t-shirts. Wear them on your body. Goodbye, bitches. The music started over.
Oh my God.
Oh shit, I forgot to stop.